Hello, my name is Stephanie, and welcome to my first storytime video here at the Midnight Lounge. This is going to be a story time about some paranormal experiences me and my family have experienced in the home we're currently living in. So, a quick background: I am born and raised in Southeast Massachusetts, about an hour south of Boston, and I met my husband when he was stationed in New England. Long story short, fast forward, he gets his final duty station in Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska, which is kind of near Omaha, Nebraska. So we buy this house in Plattsmouth, Nebraska, about 30 minutes south of Omaha. And it's a very, very old home. You can even see I'm filming like where my coffee bar is, and we haven't really, our paint's all chipped and everything. We have to fix that, but it's a very old home. Um, I think we're told it was built in the 40s. I mean, obviously there's older homes. Like where I'm from, there's homes from the 1700s, but it's an old home. Um, when we first moved in here in July 2021, nothing made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel uneasy. I didn't experience anything. And even like growing up in my life previously, I'm not going to say I don't believe in ghosts or anything like that. I mean, my mother, her home she grew up in, there's plenty of stories to do with that. Um, but I just never personally really experienced anything. Although I've always been really into like ghost hunters and horror movies and things of that nature. Um, but I guess I'll try to keep this short. Fast forward to after I had kids. We didn't, neither my husband nor I experienced anything here until our firstborn son. We have two boys, and I'm pregnant now again. Our firstborn son was about just turned two. So just was starting to really like talk more and be more alert and like animated, and that when they reach around that toddler age. So one night we're in their room, and now, okay, this will be make sense in a context. So before my son, when he was smaller, like just learning to say hi, I'm gonna say at around 8 to 12 months, I'd be changing him. The changing table's in there, and he'd be laying down and going hi behind me to the window. And now my son loved to say hi to anyone, everyone. We go out, he's saying hi to everybody. So I thought he was just being like himself, just like kids sometimes just say like their favorite words and stuff. So I didn't think anything of it at that time, but he's waving hi to the window. So, like, here's the changing table, here's the window, he's waving hi to there. Or sometimes he'd say bye or just like be fixated on it. Um, Fast forward to when one day we're in there one night this past November, and he's in there. My husband's reading him a book, and it's one of those like my first book. So it's like car, book, doll, ball. He's saying like, "Oh, sorry, I had to move over to where my boys are at right now to kind of supervise them if they don't start fighting. So yeah, we're in the kids' room, and my husband's reading a book to my son, and he turns the page. There's a picture of a car, but instead of saying car like my son usually says, he just goes, "Mama dead," and my husband's like, "What?" And again, he goes, "Mama dead." Now my son knows the word dead because me and my husband will always say like, "Oh, battery's dead, phone's dead, whatever." So nothing morbid. He's just aware of the word. But he said that specifically about me when the picture of the car came up instead of saying car as he normally would. And so my husband got freaked out by that, and so did I. I drove extremely, extremely carefully, more careful than even usual after that for a while. Um, so they finish the book. They come back out into the me and my husband come back out to the living room. We're watching something on YouTube. I forget what it was. I think like about travel because we had been planning on traveling to Arkansas. And all of a sudden we hear like really quick footsteps from my son run out from his room because he had been in there playing with his trucks. Comes out here, his face is red. Like he looks very scared. His cheeks are red. And he goes, "Boo, boo, ghost, boo." And he knows ghosts from like Halloween specials of his favorite shows, like Leo the Truck and Curious George and stuff, and some books we had. And so we figured, like, oh, he's just having an active imagination, like he scared himself, because you around 2, you start to have more fear of the imaginary and imagination and all of that. So my husband goes, "Okay, let's go check it out." They walk down to the room. My son won't go back into the room. He's kind of hiding at the door frame and poking his head around and pointing to the window. And then he made this face that like still creeps me out. And he just goes, boo. And he kept like tilting his head to the side with his mouth open with his hands out. And it reminded me of The Grudge, the little boy from The Grudge. And did it with his hands out like this. And he's pointing like it's in there at the window. At the window that he used to wave at all the time when he was little. And my husband and I were both sufficiently creeped out at that point just by the face he was making alone because he's never made that face. And my son's upset. So we're like, okay, let's just all go back out into the couch and we'll watch one of your movies. So we're out there doing that. And then my dog, Dax, who's in the chair with me right now, she's a boxer terrier mix. Like, she's so sweet. She's in the room growling at the window. She's fixated at the window, growling, barking, like she's fixed on it. We try to get her out, tell her she's got a treat out here, get her out of the room. Finally, my husband has to just kind of pull her back from the room so she stops barking so much because she's waking up my youngest, and just shut the door. And then she remains sat outside the door as though she's like protecting someone from there. Now, this repeated for a solid like 3-4 weeks, not every night, but some nights it would happen. And whenever it happened with my son, the dog would then step in and be fixated on that spot and kind of like protect the doorway. So that really unnerved me. And now I know one previous homeowner died in this home, but it was like natural causes. Like, he was an old man. There was nothing really strange about it, out of the ordinary. Um, that hasn't happened really since. I mean, sometimes my son will go in there and say, boo, ghost, point to the window, but nothing has escalated. But one other thing that happened around this time was something I experienced alone. And I don't know if the answer for this is paranormal, but coinciding with everything else, it kind of creeps me out. So I was pretty tired from the day. I wanted to go to bed, and so I was taking my youngest in just to fall asleep next to me because he was already pretty sleepy, so I could also fall asleep and just relax. My older son was going to stay out in the living room with my husband, and my husband came in the room and was just like, I'm going to play my video game for a while. I'll put Kane in his bed when he's ready to go to sleep. And I was like, okay. So when I start to drift off, and then I don't know how much longer later, maybe felt like maybe about 5 minutes because I was almost asleep, I like feel my husband come back in the room and lean over me and just go, hey, and like I feel his breath right here. So I wake up and turn around to say, what? There's no one there. And I hear his video game out in the living room. I was so scared, but I didn't want to run out to my husband and say that like I got freaked out or make my son feel scared. So I just kind of like turned on YouTube and watched some comfort videos, and then finally went back to sleep and convinced myself that like maybe it's just because I was so tired. I kind of dreamed it. But when I tell you, like, I felt breath, I felt the presence of someone right here. I was almost anticipating my husband saying, hey, because I felt someone there before he said anything. And then no one was there. And it was just like the oddest, weirdest, creepiest sensation. And that's about all yet that we've experienced. Hopefully, I don't experience anything else here. But let me know down in the comments if you have anything similar that's happened to you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. This channel is just going to be about spooky, weird, mystery kind of content. Just starting out super small. And also comment and let me know if there's something to these things happening when you have toddlers in the house, because I find it strange that there was just nothing and then there was quite a few things once my son hit about 2. Um, yeah, so that's my paranormal story so far. Hopefully that's about it because I don't like that feeling. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you back here at the Midnight Lounge next time.